couple of years, some of our city's most crucial organizations that help crime victims have been dealing with funding cuts. One local group that works to empower women, promote peace and justice in our city is the YWCA.
And joining us this afternoon is the Executive Director, Marquiepta. Willams, welcome. Good to have you with us.
It is great to be here today.
Well, first of all, tell us how YWCA, I can't say it, how the YWCA supports the Memphis community.
We support the Memphis community by providing free sheltering for anyone that is fleeing a domestic violence situation. And we also have 78 beds. That's what we do. But we also have empowerment classes and things just to help women and men to be better.
Right.
And I understand those 78 beds are often full up, right?
Yes.
And so if there have been funding cuts, how have those affected the YWCA?
Well, we're still unsure of, we know that we will have a funding cut, but we are still unsure of what the amount is. At one time we were told it would be anywhere between 35 to 40 to 50%, which means that could be possibly half of the staff that we have, because most of our staff are covered by, at the domestic violence shelter, are covered by a grant.
From the federal government?
Yes.
Okay.
And I know there's been a push, lobbyists have been in Nashville trying to get the state to help with a permanent amount of money put aside for programs in the state budget, like for the YWCA. I mean, how would that help, do you think?
If that is actually approved, that would help tremendously, because that could possibly help us offset some of the dollars that we will actually lose from the federal government.
Have you heard any movement on that at all?
We have not heard any movement, but we are very hopeful. You know, we have sent a lot of letters and made phone calls, so we are very optimistic that we will receive additional funding.
Right. Governor Bill Lee presented his budget to the legislature, but it did not include anything for crime victims. And so there are legislators who are working on trying to get money from the state government to help make up for the shortfalls that you may suffer as a result of federal budget cuts. Help us understand what are some of the red flags folks should look out for in domestic violence cases?
Some of the red flags, one that we don't think about a whole lot is when you're dating someone, and although we live in Memphis, that when they start asking a lot of questions, where are you? What time are you coming home? I've been waiting for you. And they will often say, I'm only concerned because of crime and things of that nature. But we really have to pay attention, because in many cases that is the beginning of isolation, being able to have full control of what you do and where you are going at all times. Another red flag is being able to see that person when they are angry. You know, a lot of times we don't think about that, because if you're dating someone and the first time they get angry, they're throwing the phone, they're punching, you know, a hole in the wall. You have to be very careful, because it'll go from punching holes in the wall to actually punching the victim.
And just to drive home the point of how important your shelter is for these victims, you are the largest in the state of Tennessee. As Joe mentioned, you're oftentimes full. Are there any other agencies or organizations that you know of, or are there very many that help not only victims but their children as well, give them a place to stay in this city or in the state? Are there very many of them?
As it relates to domestic violence, there are not a whole lot at all. I think we have some that help with the homelessness within our city, but really providing, shelter, free wraparound services and the things that we provide. And we are probably the only one that I do know in the city that accept boys over the age of 12 years old.
Wow.
That's an important one.
Very important.
So often the victims are in love with their abuser. They truly love them. They don't want the abuser to go to jail, and they withstand all kinds of punishment for that love of their heart, that they're just wanting that person to reform, right? But you know the classic story. You know the classic signs of domestic abuse, and this is one of the #1 crimes that our Memphis Police Department has to respond to on a daily basis, and it's such a heartbreaking thing. And so, if anything, you need more support, right? Not less.
We do. We definitely need more support. And being a survivor, of domestic violence myself, I work real hard to get the message out that you can, you can be a victim, but you can also get out of domestic violence safely and restart your life again. And so it's very, very important that whoever that victim is just understand you are not what's being done to you.
All right.
Amen to that. Thank you, Ms. Williams, so much for being with us today.
Really
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it.